Microbiome is the good bugs and the bad bugs and all the bugs that live inside and outside of our bodies. The small intestine has some bacteria, but it has far fewer than what the large intestine has. If someone is constipated, their gut is moving too slow most of the time. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Good Gut Feeling Podcast, where we digest modern medicine with old world wisdom. Today, another amazing topic. You probably have heard of it. Many people have it. It's called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO. Before we jump right in to today's topic, just a quick word. This episode is for educational purposes only and doesn't take the place of medical advice from your doctor. What is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth? First of all, we know that we have a microbiome. Microbiome is the good bugs and the bad bugs and all the bugs that live inside and outside of our bodies. The bugs are really almost everywhere, but the largest concentration of them is inside of our large intestine, and we want them because those bugs are responsible for so many good things, like our immune system, like hormone production, like neurotransmitter production, like helping digestion. The microbiome is a powerful interface of our health, meaning all our root causes, all the things that we do that we create health, like eating well, taking care of our mental health, detoxifying. Before we see it in our body's health or disease, unfortunately, it shows up in the microbiome. Microbiome is a critical part of health. How is the microbiome related to SIBO? The small intestine has some bacteria, but it has far fewer than what the large intestine has. So when someone has small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, their small intestine starts to look more like their large intestine. So those bugs that we see in the large intestine, we see them in the small intestine and we see larger amounts. They're overgrowing. So the common way to approach that, and the way that you might think is logical, is let's kill those bugs. So that is the main way that SIBO is treated, especially in the conventional world. It is treated with antibiotics. Yes, it is treated with antibiotics that are less systemically absorbed. In fact, the most common antibiotic that is used for SIBO is rifaximin, which is typically not absorbed into the rest of the body. It just kind of stays local in the gut. However, as in any antibiotic, all antibiotics do affect the microbiome. So it doesn't only kill and destroy the bugs we don't need. It also kills and destroys some of the bugs that we do need. Is that a good treatment? Let's go back to what SIBO is and what conditions of the body predispose someone to SIBO. If someone has a gut that's not moving smoothly, for example, constipation. If someone is constipated, their gut is moving too slow most of the time. So if their gut is moving how can we explain that? The large intestine reabsorbs water, and the longer the stool sits in the large intestine, the more time there is to reabsorb the water, so the whole stool comes out hard. The timing of the movement of the food from the mouth to the bottom, the anus, is very much related to how fast it moves. And that movement is called motility. Motility is the movement of really any organ, but we're talking about it in the digestive tract at this moment, and it is the most clear in the digestive tract. Motility is a major part of how the gut functions. How do we get the food from our mouth to our throat, down our esophagus, in our stomach, through our intestines, and out of our bodies? It doesn't happen just by gravity. It's muscular contractions that push it along. They have to be of a certain strength, of a certain speed, and they have to be coordinated. If the motility is not optimal, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth can occur. Think about it. You have a pond and you have a river. What is more likely to grow something bad or good? Well, the river is flowing, so it's constantly clearing stuff. If you put a bacteria or some bacteria in a pond that's still or not moving smoothly, it is more likely to overgrow. Just by clearing, we are helping small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And why is that important? You may ask, why is that important? Why don't I just take the antibiotic or even the antimicrobial herb? So there are herbs that also function in a similar fashion to antibiotics. So they also have antimicrobial properties, and some of these herbs have actually been shown to be equivalent in treating SIBO. From my practice, I have seen they are safer. However, is this the ultimate treatment? Because what is the root cause? What is the root cause? The root cause is the movement. The root cause is the microbiome. So how are these antibiotics really treating the root cause? At the end of the day, if we clear the gut, everything bad is going to clear. So if we're focusing on just putting a sanitizer in the pond, it's inevitable that it's gonna regrow. Right? I put a sanitizer once and then, okay, I'm good. So the pond is clean for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. But what happens after that? The condition has not been changed. So therefore, it is very likely that it is going to regrow. And that is exactly what happens in SIBO. In SIBO, it is extremely common for the symptoms to return. And it's very common for people to need to be retreated. And many people with SIBO have been treated multiple times and continue to be treated. And SIBO is known to be difficult to treat and have recurrences. But why? The reason is the same reason for every disease. We haven't reached the root cause. The root cause is the movement. The gut is not moving properly. But why is the gut not moving properly? And what can we do about it in a lasting way? Sometimes people are very ill and it is helpful to use some type of antimicrobial, and I do prefer herbs over the antibiotics. But sometimes they don't work. And many times even the antibiotics don't work. And very, very often it works short term. So what are we gonna do? Regardless of whether we choose to treat with antibiotics, antimicrobial herbs, or nothing, for the overgrowth itself, we need to address the root cause. The root cause is the movement of the gut. What causes altered motility? Definitely structural abnormalities like surgeries, for example. Anything that can slow the gut. Hypothyroidism is a very common cause. Constipation. Irritable bowel syndrome, a syndrome of symptoms. Really, it's not a disease, it's really a syndrome. Overlaps with SIBO very, very frequently. One can say that it's really one disorder. And what is IBS? IBS, we already know it's so much related to the mind-body connection because stress changes the motility of the gut. So we need to address the mind-body connection, and we always come back to the same root source. What are the 3 core issues? The 3 pillars, the 3 root causes are: number 1 is the mind-body connection, number 2 is food or nutrition and everything that goes along with it, and number 3 is toxicity. So we can look at it the same way. The mind-body connection, what can we do about it? We're still going back to meditation, to breath work, to energy work. How can we address the motility directly? How can we address? And that's also an important part of it, to help the motility move while we're getting to the root cause. Number 1 is visceral manipulation. In my office, we do it all the time for SIBO and other motility disorders, and it is a game changer. It is an osteopathic hands-on treatment that directly affects the motility of the organs. It is also very strong in a mind-body connection, because if we look at all the traditional systems, whether it's Ayurveda or Chinese medicine or even Jewish mysticism, all speak about how we store our emotions in our organs, what emotions we store in our organs, and they are almost identical across the board regardless of what country and culture. So by addressing the motility of the organ, we help mobilize the organ directly, but we also work on the mind-body connection. The energy work is a strong player in the mind-body connection, helping traumas. Meditation at home is a game changer. Meditation, breath work is a game changer. In my practice, this is what I have seen make a big difference in a lasting result for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. I have seen some of the worst cases of small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO, do extremely well when they have addressed the root cause. The root cause is not the overgrowth. The overgrowth is a manifestation. When you can address the root cause, then you can really fix the problem and heal the person. Number 2 is nutrition. There's no one diet. There's no one size fits all diet. And the diet that's been most frequently prescribed is the low FODMAP diet because it has less ability to ferment. Those foods have less ability to ferment and create the gas. But those are the same foods that build our microbiome, so that is not a diet for long term. That may be a short-term diet. And we still go back to the basics. The best diet is the diet that's best for you. The diet that's best for you is always a clean diet. So whatever food choices you choose, it should be clean. And many times people who are bloated and who are uncomfortable and who have bacterial overgrowth don't do well with raw foods. So cooked foods usually are much easier for them to digest. And number 3 is toxins. Toxins are in anything that has a toxicity. Some of the most potent medications to the gut are antibiotics, are proton pump inhibitors that we as gastroenterologists prescribe so frequently that I used to prescribe in my old life as a conventional gastroenterologist. We used to prescribe it like water. They disrupt the microbiome and they are toxic to the microbiome. So before you start any medication, make sure it's necessary, make sure it's useful, and understand all the risks and benefits. Even antibiotics that really can wreak havoc on the microbiome are sometimes necessary, but they are highly overused. Proton pump inhibitors are sometimes necessary. When someone is having a serious bleed in the hospital, they are life savers, but they are not necessary many times the way they are prescribed. They're highly overprescribed. Stay informed, stay healthy, stay gutsy. I look forward to seeing you all next week.